Is Edie joining us?
She said she was going to try.
Okay, but I see the deputy. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
We
we're
ready? Okay. Thank you very much, Audrey. Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our November 22nd meeting. This is being streamed from GHURA's main office, in the first floor, conference room in Senanya. Let us be. It is 12:03, and I call this meeting to order. And we'll begin with roll call. Vice Chair Guzman.
Present.
Thank you very much. I believe Commissioner Sanchez will not be able to make it. That was a note we received. He's excused. Commissioner Bryce, I see you.
Present, yes.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Porpoise.
Present.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Isizaki.
Here.
Oh my gosh, really?
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Commissioner Delia. Thank you very much. All is in order. We have a quorum. Moving on to item number 2, board meeting public announcements that is contained in your packet that was distributed. First printing Tuesday, November 15th. And the second printing on Sunday, November.
So I needed
2nd.
down.
Audrey.
Audrey, you want to go to
Yes.
mute yourself?
Sorry about that.
No problem. Okay, so we have first printing on Tuesday, November 15th, and second printing on Sunday, November 20th. In your packet, all is in order and affirmed. Moving on to item number 3, approval of previous board minute meeting, which is in your packets of October 27th.
I have a couple of corrections on the minutes, please.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, item 5. We have
Item
Genesis.
5.
Yes, item 5, page 6 of 10.
Okay.
I'm sorry, page 5 on line 7.
Okay.
It should read, Genesis Corp, Tech Corp submitted 15% bid bond and a base bid of 108, comma, not period, not $108.
Oh, okay. That's right. Thank you very much.
Yes, and one more on that same bid package. The next page, 6 of 10, item bullet 6, it should read the amount for Genesis Tech base bid 1 in the amount of 108,000, not 180,000.
100 and
8,000 based
you're
on.
you're on page 6 of 10.
Yes, 6 of 10. Bullet point down on 6. The amount of the bid should read 108,000, not 180,000.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And on page 2 of 10, item number 3, we just have to remove the space and from pass to unanimously.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Okay. Any more corrections? If not, may I get a motion?
I will make a motion to approve our previous board meeting minutes of October 27th, 2022.
Subject to corrections?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Any further discussion on the issue? Hearing and seeing none, may I call for the vote? All in favor, please say aye and or raise your hand so I may see you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Commissioners. Moving on to item number 4, new business, resolution number FY 2023-005, resolution approving the Section 8 Management Assessment Program certification for fiscal year ending 2022. I believe I don't see Madam Executive Director, Mr. Deputy, is that you?
Yes. Good morning,
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, board commissioners. With regard to resolution FY 2023-005, you'll see in your board packet an attached memorandum regarding the CMAT certification, which provides an overview and summary. Also attached in your board packet, which would be pages 3 through 29 is the copy of the CMAT self-certification as well as our submission. And we have Ms. Norma, our Section 8 administrator, with your permission to kind of discuss that and the requirement of what we need from the board in terms of the resolution in order to submit this to HUD.
Absolutely, right. Ms. Norma, always good to see you. Thank you very much. You may proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairman Rivera and Vice Chairman Monica Guzman and members of the board. Every year, 60 days before at the end of the fiscal year, we are required by regulation to submit a self-certification of our performance. So this is like our report card. So what we were doing throughout the year was doing internal audits on our performance. And so indicators 1 through 9, we have to do quality control, and we're doing that on a monthly basis. Normally it's done at the end of the fiscal year, but we chose to do it on a monthly basis. And the rest of the indicators from 10 to 15, HUD grades us based on our monthly submission. So we don't have to do anything on that other than track it. So if you look at page 3 of, I'm sorry, 5 of 51, that's a certification. So after you review, I need your approval and signature on this document. And then we have to send it off to HUD right away, no later than the 29th of this month. So if anybody has any questions, I'm here to answer it.
Thank you much. Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions?
I'm sorry, so we are reviewing the packet for what?
So the packet and of course the resolution kind of as proof, that's our proof that you guys reviewed it, right,
Okay.
and concur for our submission. So the actual packet is what we submit into HUD. And that's the form, HUD form 52648. Is that right, Ms. Norma?
That's correct.
And yes,
But are we matching the information from page 11 with the form as to what are we confirming and reviewing?
oh, so Ms. Norma, would you like to take that?
Yes,
over?
each indicator, if you go to page, I'm sorry, if you go to page page 10 of 51, it'll give you a summary, and each indicator has the requirement that we have to meet. So page 10 through 13 is a summary, and it basically tells you what is required, the standards that we have to meet, and the points that we will earn from if we met the standards. Or if we don't meet the standards, of course, it'll be 0. But based on our monthly internal audit, we're meeting the standards. So we're maximizing the points. Now, some of these indicators, we probably won't get a grade because HUD has until the end of the year to summarize our complete performance. Like, for example, leasing. We have to wait until the December numbers come in, and then we won't get our final grade until the following year, which is probably around January or February.
If I may, so the HUD form 52648 is what we submit. The follow-on pages, including the summary, and then some of the printouts from our system are the supporting documents, kind of proving what we're asserting within the HUD form that we're going to submit.
So for example, the first indicator is the selection from the waiting list, right? Based on this form, our PHA response is yes. And then you graded yourself 15 or 0?
Yes, that's the I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, that's the maximum point. It's either 15 or you get nothing. That's HUD's grading criteria. So, like for instance, for indicator 1, there's two standards that we have to meet. The first one, do we have a written policy? And we do. That's in our admin plan. And then the second one, based on the quality control that we conduct at the end of the year, supposedly, does it show that at least 98% of the families were correctly selected? And based on our quality control review, they have been selected correctly based on the policies.
So we're just reviewing it based on your recommendation or based on what you've already listed on each of the performance factors, right?
Correct.
Okay.
It's a self-certification.
Okay, got it.
But just, to mention, right, so the QC review kind of explains, how the determination, the scoring came up to, right? It's not a subjective matter.
Right.
And that's why the follow-on pages are all proven with the data.
Yes.
The scoring, they're not as scaled. So,
Okay.
and she had mentioned, they're just, it's kind of weird how the numbers come, but it's more on the weighting than it is the actual point system because it's not scaled.
So I feel it's just a review based on what you guys have already
Yes.
submitted. Got
Well,
it.
no, we haven't submitted it
Based
yet.
on what you're going to submit.
Correct.
Okay.
And now part of what HUD requires is that our Board of Commissioner reviews it. That way, we're not doing, if we're performing poorly, right, then they ensure that there's a check and balance there with the board having an opportunity to review it. So that's the main part of it. So
Right, so that's what I'm saying. So because you prepared it and we're gonna approve it, the supporting documents, for example, if you guys already, you've met the standards and under the was standard met information or definition, right? We just need to make sure that the supporting documents are attached.
Well, one, just to the score, go ahead, Norma, if you'd like.
No, okay. The way it's done is that we have an internal auditor who looks at our file. We randomly audit these files and then we record our findings, and also whatever we audit, we have to make a copy of the supporting documents, because after we self-certify and we submit this to HUD, sometime next year, HUD will come here and will do a confirmatory review. And so I have to bring all these boxes out and say, here you are, here's our supporting documents. That's how we scored ourselves this way, because this is all the supporting documents we have. Now,
Okay.
that's just from indicators 1 through 9.
Mhm.
As far as 10 through 15, HUD already has all that information, because our monthly submission of the 50058, they're tracking those.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
I also wanted to add that the past couple years, we did not submit anything because our score from 2019 rolled over due to the pandemic. But the report card is in the very back of this packet. So on page 29 of 51. So for 2 years, we were designated a high performing agency.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any further questions, commissioners? Okay. Hearing none, may I call for the motion?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, for the
Sure.
to complete the record, may I read the resolution before board action?
Oh, yes, please.
Get into the record, thank you. Resolution number FY 2023-005. Resolution approving the Section 8 Management Assessment Program, or CMAP, certification form HUD 52648 for fiscal year ending 2022. Whereas the Section 8 Management Assessment Program is a management tool developed and designed by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for the purpose of identifying and assessing the authority's management capabilities and to assist in the improvement of the authority's program operations. And whereas 24 CFR 985.101A of the Code of Federal Regulations requires public housing agencies to submit the Section 8 Management Assessment Program certification form within 60 days after the end of its fiscal year. And whereas 24 CFR 985.101A requires PHA's Section 8 Management Assessment Program certification to be approved by the agency's Board of Commissioners, and therefore be it resolved that the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Board of Commissioners approves the Section 8 Management Assessment Program certification for fiscal year ending 2022.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy. Having it been read into record, may I call for the motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the CMAP for this fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you very much, Commissioner Suzaki. May I get a second?
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Delia. Any further discussion on the issue at hand? Hearing and seeing none, may I call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand so I may see you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously for resolution number FY 2023-005. Moving on to new business, item number 2, intent to award RFP number GHURA-COCC-022-003 for independent finance audit services. Mr. Deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On August 11, 2022, GHURA put out an RFP for independent financial auditing services. And these are auditors that will prepare a financial audit to submit to HUD, which is an annual requirement. 3 companies picked up packets, however, only one submitted a bid. Because it's an auditing service that we're seeking in conformance with GovGuam law, this was a lot of the process was led and charged by the public auditor who were part of the evaluation process. So the evaluation committee consisting of 5 reviewed and evaluated the proposal for both responsiveness as well as responsiveness and responsibility. And the company that did submit the proposal, as you can see in your board packet, was selected by the committee. Because there was only one responsive bidder, even though it's not considered a sole source procurement under 2 CFR 200 and HUD's rules and regulations, it is still under their determination to be considered a sole source or what they would call a sole bidder. And so with that, we went ahead and sent a recommendation and provided all the information about the procurement to HUD, which you'll see in your board packet, seeking approval regarding the sole bidder. And we did receive that approval back. So the final action would be for the board to approve the award. The company that was selected is going to be responsible for conducting our single financial audit that is provided to the public auditor, as well as our HUD audit, which is the reporting is more specific to HUD. We did have negotiate with the company to ensure that they understood the scope of work, what it entailed, and based on the final firm and fair price, came out to a determination of $86,000 for all 3 years. Just pull that out, my apologies. Is that right, Ms. Fran? Sorry, $85,000 for 3 years. And what that is, Mr. Chairman, is that, we determined that, after the first year is probably the most difficult audit because they're going to be looking at our books the first time. As per the standard, it becomes easier the follow-on years. And so we also balance that in terms of our determination with the rising cost of inflation and considered that. So what we agreed upon was a flat rate for the first 3 years. And if we were to exercise the option, it would go up by $1,000 in that year alone. So with that, we're seeking an intent to award from the Board of Commissioners for RFP GHURA COCC 022-003. Would you like to add anything, Ms. Francis, Ms. Fran?
No, I have nothing to add at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I got one question. How much have we been paying for like Deloitte & Touche? What was their expenditure in the past 3 years?
So the expenditure for Deloitte for the last 3 years was about $60,000. But as Mr. Fernando had mentioned, that EY is considering the inflation and the time that they're going to have to know GHURA.
So although the hourly rate, right, it seems like it goes up every year, but the base fees stay the same?
Correct, because it's going to require less professional service hours to conduct the audit.
And Mr. Chair, it looks like Jesse Wu has concurs and approved the this request from their end.
That's correct. I'm just looking at that now too. Okay. Any further discussion on the matter? No. Before I call for the vote, if I could, I know that our GHURA as an agency has experienced some difficulties in the finance side due to circumstances beyond our control. And I know that our mechanism has been reported by by Deloitte in the past, has noted that our system is one of the most complex out there. And that it's a task in itself just to get our audits out. However, I also know that the public auditor has requested and asked us to try to do our due diligence and our timeliness, right? I know that the cycles are not always aligned, but for the sake of the public auditor and his requests, I just want to put it on record for us to do our best to get those things out on a timely manner, also for his timeline, so that we can work with our auditors and with our finance folks, right, to make good on that. So if I could just put that out there, moving forward, right? I know that we work really hard and sometimes things happen, but just to put that on radar, right? That would be an important step, right?
Mr. Chair, may I add to that?
Absolutely.
Specific to those concerns raised by the public auditor, right, and the understanding that we do have a complicated system with the FDS, that's the HUD side financial audit and submission of that report. And then the timeline moved up on the public auditor, which I believe is February now, Ms. Fran, right? The first draft to come out. And you know, to the point Commissioner Ishizaki made, right? And we noticed the price difference, and we wanted to ensure that the company that we would be going with understood the timelines, right? And understood what was required and whether or not that was gonna, you know, require additional manpower hours to that, right? So that we could meet timeliness. And as you can see, you know, that does come with the cost. But we do feel confident that they're well aware of the complexities and they're going to have the resources available in order to meet the necessary timeliness. We may have some hiccups in the first year, only because this is the first time, you know, this company is going to be cracking open our books. But I do expect improvement in the following years and actually to be very much on the timeline and schedule.
Noted. Thank you for your due diligence.
I got one more question. Sorry, Mr. Director.
Sure.
Is there a resolution for this? I don't see it.
Not for the intent to award. We could just, in the past, we just get the board and track the and create a board action for the intent to award.
Okay, thank you very much. May I get a motion on the floor?
I will make a motion to pass RFP GHURA -COCC -022-003 to award independent financial audit services to Ernst & Young LLP in the amount of $85,000 for fiscal years 2022, 2023, and 2024.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Delia. May I get a second? Thank you, Commissioner Vice Chair Guzman, for the second. Call to question, is there any more discussion on the issue? Hearing and seeing none, may I call for the vote? All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand so I may see you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Thank you very much. A motion passes unanimously. Intent to award GHURA-COCC-022-003 for independent financial audit services to Ernst & Young in the amount of $85,000. Thank you, commissioners. Moving on to item number 3, intent to rescind board action, item number 120-/22. Mr. Deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you can see in your board packet, there is a memorandum which kind of summarizes the request for the board to rescind the previous board action. On October 11th, during a regular board meeting, the board provided a conditional award of GHURA 06-16-2022 CDBG, an award to Surface Solutions in the amount of $558,818. And that was assigned a board action of 120/22. The conditional award was subject to approval from the SAG or the Attorney General. However, when we went back to review the packet, we did find some things regarding the project that just required additional planning and consideration. Now, because of where it is in the procurement process, in order to go back to the planning, whereas it may affect material changes in terms of the cost estimates, it does require us to cancel the solicitation since it did go out for bid and bids were submitted. And so per the GAR, and following that, we want to go ahead and withdraw and reject all solicitations and be able to go back to the planning phase. And then at some point, once that's been complete, re-solicit out, but it'll have a new solicitation number. Now, in order to do that, because the board already took an action for a conditional award, we're requesting to rescind that board action so the solicitation comes back to GHURA itself or the executive side in order for us to take the GAR action in terminating the solicitation as a whole. And so we just want to ensure that we're executing our due diligence and doing proper planning to consider all factors before we go out. But we do intend to complete this project and get it done as per our action plan. Subject to your questions.
Thank you very much, commissioners. Do you have any questions?
Mr. Chair, I hope you don't mind. Acting Director, can you explain again what the issue was? I didn't understand what you were saying. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do want to conduct additional planning for the project to ensure that we're able to get it done within a timely manner, that we're looking and trying to get the best value for the territory. And that's done in a few different ways. But the only way to kind of address some of those planning concerns is to go back to the planning phase of the procurement. The only way to do that is to cancel the solicitation just because of where it is in the procurement process as it is. And so in order for us to do that, we need to rescind the previous board action, which provided a conditional award of the project. So it's never been awarded. It's kind of in a limbo stage right now. But before moving it any further, we're trying to go back and going back to the planning status.
So is this the solicitation where, if I recall, they said that they had a sister company and they were able to get the materials from their sister company?
It is, but that's not the issue at hand, Madam Vice Chair. So there's no issue with the company at all, no issue with the bid. It's actually something we need to go back and reevaluate the scope of work. So it's on our end. So no fault of the contractor, any of the bidders, for the price, completely unrelated to that.
Hmm.
So you just want a whole new structure or bid packet to go out?
In order to execute this project, right, and the procurement to completion and ensure that we meet the proper form to see it through, it is going to require we go back to the planning and when we do that, we would have to go back and do an entirely new solicitation. But as I did state, we do intend to get the project complete. We just want to make sure that we do it and we do it right.
Is this at the advice of legal?
Madam Vice Chair, no. Again, this is part of our internal review, our continuous review of the procurement.
Well, let me throw in one question for a moment. Can't we just have a meeting with all the bidders and have a meeting to change the scope without having to rebid, without having to cancel and rebidding?
Unfortunately, Mr. Commissioner, I don't think that's, again, it has nothing to do with the bidders. It's on our end. And so there's no opportunity to fix it without having to go back to the planning stage of it. But I feel, very confident that if we don't do it, this project's not going to go anywhere and it'll sit exactly where it is. So if we don't take action right now to move it along, then we'll fall further behind.
Mr.
know-
Deputy. Oh, go ahead, Madam Vice Chair.
To put together a bid and to put together a proposal costs money. And, the fact that we had five companies submit bids, what's to say they're gonna resubmit again? I don't know. I don't know about this. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
I was just going to ask on this note, how does this affect the project timelines from what was anticipated to what this will impact?
We feel fairly confident we could get it jump started again, but again, depending on where it is in the procurement process, the sooner we get it back and the sooner we can go back to make the adjustment that we need to, the sooner we can get things moving again on this. We got to consider, though, again, the funding timelines on this. We do have Catherine on the line who might be able to provide a little bit more insight if you'd like, Mr. Chairman.
Does the commissioners have any questions for Ms. Cat?
Yeah, Miss Kathy, could you please explain? I'm just not comfortable with this. Thank you. Kathy?
I'm trying to get a hold of her. Please give me 1 second.
Madam Vice Chair, so the original board action was a conditional award. right? So we couldn't move forward with the award anyways, and it was conditional on section 5150.
I'm very sorry. I was on a phone call with HUD. It was quite last minute. My apologies.
Well, one moment, Kat, let me just complete this one. Thank you. It was a conditional approval based on section 5150 for the amount over 500,000, right? And in order to move forward with the procurement, we have to meet all aspects of the 5150. And the reason we need to go back to the planning is that's the only way we're ever going to get this past the 5150 review and approval.
Kathy, can you explain what the 5150 is?
The 5150 is the documentation for establishing that the work that is being done is well, it's part of their process to review to ensure that any project over $500,000 is going to be is subject to a level of review through the AG side. Vice Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just checking.
Do the commissioners have any other questions or discussion on the item?
I'm just curious why we didn't have a legal review on this. If it was just a conditional approval, I mean, I like Commissioner Shizaki's thought of maybe just making this an amendment and not having to cancel it and, you know, rescind the conditional approval, but not have to outright cancel the whole solicitation and just make it an amendment to the solicitation. Kathy, is that an option?
Madam Vice Chair, if I may, the 5150 is hard coded in the law.
It is.
There's no way around the approval from the Attorney General's office.
5150 is it's actually to be completed. It's 5 GCA 5 Guam Code annotated subsection 5150. So it's literally the law that must be that the documentation would have had to be in place in order to establish whether it's above or below $500,000. And absent that step being followed, it's a back step for us to have to go back and do it. So to ensure that we're going to comply with that at the minimum has to be adhered to. It is one of those threshold pieces.
At this point, it hasn't been awarded, right? And contract hasn't been signed. It gives us an opportunity to, ensure that, we complete and we move forward with the procurement, even though we have to start over. The work doesn't disappear that was put into this. It's just restarting the process expeditiously, but ensuring that, we see it complete to both form and legality. The other side to it is, of course, we want to be in conformance with not only Guam law, but 2 CFR 200. So if there are any of those missing steps, we just want to make sure that we are able to address it before a contract is actually executed and be able to correct that. And to what Ms. or Kat was discussing, the main part that we need to address is because it's a procurement over 500,000, the 5150 kicks in. Per the law, the AG involvement or the legal SAG designation needs to be involved before the bid even goes out, right, in the planning and preparation stage. Because bids were already submitted before that had gone out and before the involvement was in full swing, there's no way to go back and recreate that, right? The bid has gone out and there wasn't the early on review of it. So there's really no way to course correct on that end without going back to the planning stage and then triggering the 5150 at that point.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Zizaki, I see your mouth moving. I think you're on mute.
Just one more question then. Did the AG come back to set forth some requirements? Because did we get an opinion from them on how to proceed?
In a very similar procurement, we already did kind of on the same issue. So we're already fixing that one. And so we made the determination that before we, repeat that, we're just going to fix it. We're just going to go ahead and fix it since we already know what the issue is.
And how old is this old project, the previous project?
It's not a project. It was not. It was just another procurement.
Just another procurement.
Yeah, but it wasn't a construction project. This was a procurement for services.
Okay.
And so, we did have a sit down with them, kind of discuss what they were. They provided some recommendations, and we're putting them into effect immediately. Unfortunately, it does have an effect on this project, right? And so, now we're, I'd also like to make the case that, even though the issues might have been there, they were inadvertent, right? As public officers now we know about the issues. I can't move forward knowing, having done a review of this procurement and knowing that it's there. I have a duty to go back and fix it.
Okay, if we're looking at page 45 of 54, right, the memorandum, in that little box there, it says at the regular board meeting of October 11th, a motion was made by myself and seconded by Commissioner Sanchez to award Surface Solutions construction of MTM. It doesn't say anything that it was a conditional or does subject to legal review as that language interpreted as a conditional approval.
It was, if you look on page 42, Madam Vice Chair, the last sentence on the memorandum presented before the board.
So it did have legal review, and this was the recommendation to cancel it?
Not for this specific project, but in the interest of trying to get it started back up and save time, addressing the issues internally before going outside of the agency on this specific project.
If I understand you correctly, Mr. Deputy, that's also because you found within our process, based on some conversations with the AG's office, already some procedural issues that we want to correct, right?
Yes, that we're actively correcting, and we're already in the process, and we're already applying the updated standards to all of the new procurements moving forward. However, this was moved along before we put in those procedural adjustments.
Right. And so this is just doing our due diligence before we even get there.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of it too was, improvements on how we're improving, not just, of course, our compliance with local law, but insurance that we're adhering and updating all our processes to be in conformance with 2 CFR 200. And the main thing was there was a resolution, if I can give a little backstory, there was a resolution back in 2020 updating our procurement policies to conform with 2 CFR 200. However, COVID hit, right? And COVID was really affecting a lot that's going on. So the updating of, those SOPs and things like that didn't necessarily move along, but we are applying the updated standards and ensuring that everything is meeting those standards.
And so as part of that process, that's why we're taking the extra step on this case. Is that correct?
Commissioners, we are
Understood.
also sending staff through more detailed 2 CFR 200 training, and in order to ensure that they're up to date, because there have been a lot of new rules that are either old rules that have been updated or refined, or have just been, in some way, they've taken on a new understand. We have to understand them. So the Guam State Clearinghouse has been doing some very detailed grants management training, which they expect to do again. We're also exploring the HUD trainings that they have on 2 CFR 200.
Okay. Thank you very much. Vice Chair, do you have any more questions or any discussion?
No, thank you, sir.
Commissioner Sasaki?
No, let's move on then.
All right. Okay. So may I call for the motion?
Okay, I will make a motion to rescind board action 120/22. It's a cancellation of solicitation to who is this? To Surface Solutions, right?
Okay. May I get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Chair. Any further discussion on the issue? Hearing and seeing none, may I call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Thank you very much. Motion unanimously passes for intent to rescind board action item number 120/22 to board. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to old business, change order to OH Construction. Mr. Deputy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have Michael on the line, and he's going to discuss it. So what we're looking to do is to add the staircase to the office expansion right outside here with OH Construction. And with your permission, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Michael to explain.
Right.
Michael?
Granted, Michael.
Thank you. might be having some issues. Andrew, are you there? Michael or Andrew?
We're calling them right now. Please give me a second.
They're calling you on the board.
You know, you just, Audrey, just have them come down if they're upstairs. So we can move this along, please.
Okay, so then can you just come down to the conference room?
Yeah, they're having issues with their
They're coming
computer, so
down.
they're coming down. They're on their way down.
Thank you. Today, apologize. We tried to, no worries, yeah. We cannot, the OGs. All right, Michael, the floor is yours.
Can everybody see that? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I'll just follow you, Mike.
Our chair and our board members and our deputy. We're here to discuss regarding the change order for the Section 8 office station with regards to the change order request from OH Construction. Next slide. We will show you the location that they're asking for the change order. We will discuss first how it comes that we provide the new stairs. Before we have an access on the second floor to the main office. However, there's a discussion to enclose it and not to demolish it on the second floor. That's why we provide additional stairs outside the expansion office. So next slide. This is the existing floor plan that we show. Here is the first floor plan. And next slide, please. Here is the office for the AA's office. You can see the access to actually the fiscal offices, and we discussed that we will not do the opening for that, and we're gonna provide the new extension for the stairs. Next slide, please. Here's the proposed concrete stairs to access for the new office, but we will not disturb the existing opening, proposed opening. Okay. Next slide. Here's the proposal for OH Construction for design and building permit. Cost $10,000. Second, structural work, stairs footing from concrete pouring and walkway overhang. It's around $41,000. Finishing works, skim coat, plastering, finish, painting, new aluminum exterior door. It's item number 3. It's $25,000. And for the electrical works and lighting system, it's $1,000. Since we have the to remove to remove the existing scope of work like gypsum board, partition, and the new opening, it's cost around $7,000. That's the deductive. So the total cost is 70,000. This 7,000, we request also to add the not only the concrete stairs, we also ask to extend the overhang on the front office, so we have an access from front, so we can access to that on front through to the stairs. So we will not do this.
There's going to be a covered on the walkway leading to the exterior stair. So the change order scope of work is the stair itself and plus the overhang, which is the cover for the new walkway to the stair. Yes.
Thank you.
That's
it.
If there's any questions?
So everything is exterior work then.
Yes.
So you're not gonna bother any of the electrical and all the other stuff that's already in place.
No.
Okay.
So we're doing two things. We're demolishing the old stairway or, yeah, stairway for your exterior stairway, and then we're adding, I'm sorry,
No,
the cost breakdown of exterior stairway.
no, what is on the original contract was the access for the second floor was coming from the physical area.
Okay,
And in order to proceed with that, we need to demolish the wall and move the wall so that we gain that 4-foot access.
okay,
By moving forward with that, it's going to minimize the physical department space, and there's some other issues like dust,
Okay.
which there's some people that are allergic with that. So those are the safety things that we try to avoid. So instead of moving forward with the second floor access, we have give OH a proposal to construct the new stair
just on the other side.
yes.
Okay, okay.
What was the total cost of the project? Do you recall?
The total is 70,000. Other, I think,
No.
other total cost.
220.
Should be here. That's 135.
It's 135. And then
Yes.
you're going up to 205,000 now. So
With
with
the
the
stairs.
request of
Yeah.
70,000, right? Yeah.
Any other
Well,
questions?
No questions. I just recall Sunny making a presentation about this, and having, to make this change in order to provide access, for the A&E team and not having to go through fiscal, and then also that there were some health concerns with some of the members of fiscal. So. Yeah, do we have the money for this?
Yes, yes, Madam Vice Chair, this is coming from the CARES Act funds that's funding the project. And so it's within that same funding source and budget.
Sounds like there's a real functional need for this. Okay. Any further discussion? If not, may I get a motion on the floor to approve change order?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve change order GHURA 09-28-2021, Section 8 expansion in the amount of $70,000 for the stairway, additional stairway work.
Okay, thank you very much. May I get a second?
Second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Isizaki. Any further discussion on the matter? Hearing and seeing none, may I call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye or raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 5, 6. Thank you very much. Motion unanimously passes for the change order. And every time we get our steps in, we will thank Vice Chair for that and remember her good intentions.
We won't get wet.
Excuse me?
Thank you. When they go up and down the stairs, right, and they get their steps in,
Oh
they
my
will
goodness.
remember you, right? Because
But
that's
there
the
is
thing
an
now.
elevator, right? There is an elevator somewhere in the building, correct?
There is,
Huh?
yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Moving on to item number 6. Any further announcements?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just a quick one.
Sure.
GHURA staff is getting together and we're just nothing official, just collecting some donations of supplies. We're trying to put together gift bags for the Manungku within our residential units. So, you know, if there's any consideration from the board, if you'd like to participate, just let us know. Again, it's not related to anything, just some volunteerism from our GHURA family here.
Awesome. Could you please send out an email to us with the details? That way we can respond and we know how we can contribute. That would be great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right,
Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. And the next proposed scheduled board meeting is Tuesday, December 13th at 12 p.m. Audrey will most likely confirm that and affirm that. Any further discussions or announcements? Okay, hearing and seeing none, may I get a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much, right? Any opposed? Everyone have a great Thanksgiving. I'm sure that we have a lot to be thankful for this round, right?
Yes, we do.
Thank you to all the GHURA staff for always doing what you do and keeping our families first in mind. As we celebrate these holiday seasons and move in, may we be more grateful and mindful for all the things that we have and those who don't, right? Other than that, right, thank you very much. I'm calling this meeting at 11:11. Everybody have a safe holiday.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Adios.
Happy
Time difference.
Oh,
Wait, Mr. Chair, confirm the time. 1:11
1:11.
Guam time. Yeah,
Who's up front?
okay. It's yeah, okay.
You're up.
Thank you, Audrey.
You're welcome. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Commissioner Shizaki.